In this episode, I want to go a little bit into the makeup. Means I want to fix some themes, and I have no themes here, so I have to produce one. And let's say the client has some wishes. You don't want to have it that open here to this side. The main direction should go to the right, and blah, blah, blah. So then we have to go and maybe copy the whole building. That is maybe one important theme to discuss anyway. So I have used here a null object that was exactly on 0, 0, 0 to not make any mistakes here. And I have placed everything underneath without moving a thing. So it's really stable. I have tested this. Everything is fine. Then I made a copy, and you find this then here. And the whole copy is under a null object that I have moved exactly around this area here. And I will show you that in a second. The first thing that we have to do is, of course, to rename the projection cameras. So we can have always a very clear idea which camera is where, in which area here. So we don't have a camera in one folder or in one null object and move then the whole thing, and the camera wouldn't move at all. By the way, having said movement, the protection tag needs to go for that operation. After we have done this, you can place the protection tag, of course, again on the camera or any lock with the layers. If they are protected, and then you can't move them, or you shouldn't be able to move them, of course. And so when you want to move these things here, and I show you that, I switch this now on. So now we have closed here that area, and we can move here the whole building at once, of course, to a certain degree based on the perspective here. And you see it would show through. And I show you that not to make here an impression on you. I want to show you that is exactly the same texture, and I haven't duplicated the textures here, which is, of course, one part of being frugal with disk space, rather 32-bit than double everything. No, just kidding. But the truth is, we could paint now here this theme, which is in question here, of course, with body paint immediately. But then we would have really to double exactly all materials here, and we have to duplicate each texture. Because in a moment we paint here on this side, maybe on this window, maybe here on this stone, it would show up here as well. So have an eye on those things, just to paint here, have the window maybe very small, and then go out after an hour of work and see here is the whole makeup work. Not very funny. So my suggestion is always leave these textures alone, even if you use a layer extra in body paint, you paint on the layer and it shows up here. So you need to split this, of course. My suggestion here, again, I go and give this cube here my attention, and with the command click I give this cube here my selection. Then I go to Windows and to Projection Man. Go here then to New Projection Camera and Coverage Rendering. And here I name my little file, let's say Theme 2012. So, and I don't want to have grayscale, even if that would work. And I go to 16-bit here. I leave everything as it is. And I have to put this here in a folder, of course, in my text folder, exactly in this. I click Save, and then I can click here OK. This starts here to render very nicely, so I can see here already all my problems in the world. I could have fixed this, of course, with moving this object here a little bit around, but where would be the fun if we have not to fix something here? So then I can go here right to work, and of course I could fix here now the whole theme and let you watch me working on that, but I think it's a better idea to just take one layer and focus on a small area and do that nicely. That's way over the top here. So now we have here exactly a good measurement, and we can use, of course, here a brush that works in a size. It's all a little bit slow here when the screen capture is working here. So, and then we go here to this part and we just get rid of all this area here. And we can paint here a little bit over it, so to get a nice edge here. I speed this up here a little bit because I don't want to waste too much time here, and I think the whole process is of course always take the color that you have there already, mix it a little bit, give some varieties in it, and nothing is really absolute perfect there. And in the moment something is maybe 100% perfect, it stands out, at least with old buildings. There's always some dirt in it, some colorization, and some variation, and especially when something was added to a building like this left side here now, then you will see they try to mimic it and the material is maybe a little bit newer and so on. If it is really one part, we would have photographed it, of course, and so that's all. So let's have a look with the animation camera on, and it looks good. The only thing that we have here now is, of course, that we added here something to the whole area. And we want to have this, of course, on both sides. As we can see here, this is not fixed. So with a command, we go here to this option, and we have the camera now outside. So don't move anything here anymore. And when we render this, you can see this area here is now fixed, but there is one downside now. We have, and I want to show you that maybe here with the luminance, and I go here with a color into the game, and I set this here to multiply, for example. So we can see here exactly what is now the fix here. And surprise, it's pretty much everything except for this part. And when I go with the camera a little bit out, it might be even more visible, or I go completely out to the editor camera, then you will see what I have here. This building is not projected here, it's behind the camera. I go to my editor camera, go completely out, render the whole thing, and you can see here I have replaced now this whole area, and I haven't seen so much difference in it. But the truth is, I have rendered from an image and then projected it back. I don't think that the quality has improved. It's more likely that we have decreased the quality. So now comes the alpha channel game into the play. And for that, we go back to Photoshop. And here we have our thingy. We check out. Here is the alpha channel. I switched this on. So we see here only the alpha channel is here. And here we had our reflection thingy. So the alpha channel is not working there very well. What we need here is, of course, that I go with D to get my black and white back. Then I go here to alpha channel, and with an option I go to make everything black. Then I take my brush, press the X key or this little arrow here, make my brush bigger, and paint here over my area where I had my fix, maybe a little bit here, a little bit there, and down. I stay not at 100% to get a very soft edge here, and now I increase here my product to the side with 100%. So I go out of that mode. It means I go back to RGB. I see here only a little line. When I go here to alpha channel, I see that. And back to this. Go with save into the race and back to Cinema 4D. And here I need to go only to my material, go here to the alpha channel where I want to have my reload, and I get here only my stream or theme, render the whole thing again, and voila, here we have only the area of the fix. Very nicely. And so I can take the colorization now out, because that's certainly not what we want. Normal. And just for the sake of no mistakes later on, I take the color out as well. And here we go. That's exactly where we want it to be. I have to render this here again to see, based on the alpha channel, I could go into a different screen mode, of course. So now this is fixed, and this is the original texture on the left and on the right, and I have only this little seam here now replaced. And I think as I painted it on my own, maybe I have increased, maybe decreased the quality. That's maybe up to you to decide, but I wanted to show you the technique, how it works, and I think that has worked here very nicely. This texture here, if you have painted an alpha channel now in, is of course perfect to hop over to body paint and make smaller decisions or bigger adjustments there as well, because now we have an extra texture in it which is nicely set up in the whole game, and we could do this here very easy. Thanks for listening. Have fun with it. Bye bye.